to them directly. And I think that's an excellent segue.
This is why the back of his shirt says pastor, because the pastor's gonna lead the flock where they gotta go. Shannon Sharpe, congratulations.
Hey,
Before the interview dropped, we text each other and I said, this is gonna be good. I can't wait to watch.
Yeah.
You wrote back, I cannot wait to watch as well. I don't think neither one of us thought it would do 40 million in 10 days.
It's at 40 million?
Yeah, bro, that shit is gone.
That is insane.
Out of here.
Dude, that's like $1 million check.
Bruh, Shannon out of here.
Yeah, like, bro.
Skip Bayless, I feel bad for you, bro. But
no wonder why Steven Jackson mad at him.
Yeah. This is the interview that nobody thought they were going to get.
Dude, that's $720,000.
Yeah,
that one episode.
I believe it. That's why, So anyway, Katt Williams came to Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay, and Club Shay Shay. I have to say, I saw behind the scenes. Your videographer is amazing. From one photographer, one creative to another, stuff that nobody on this podcast cares about. Congratulations. I seen the cameras y'all was using. I seen the rigs that y'all had. I saw how the camera was sliding. I know how much that shit costs.
Yeah.
I know that I couldn't do that. You know what? I take that back. I don't need to lie.
Not yet.
But it was amazing to watch. Katt Williams came in and it wasn't an interview. It was a conversation.
Yeah, it was a conversation. It was a comedy special.
It was a stand-up show that like none other. And I have to say this, Shannon, congratulations on keeping your cue cards up, even though they were not needed. Highlights. What are some highlights of that interview? Because we can get straight into it.
So I'm gonna jump right into it. Right, a lot of people was upset and was like, "Yo, yeah, Katt, was making shit up or whatever." Right, and I was like, "Look, Katt gave you a baseline at the very beginning of the episode. Katt told you that he was 52 years old and he runs a 416. All right,
yeah.
The record is 4.2 by a 20-year-old. All right." He told you he read 3,000 books, in a year, right?
Uh-huh.
If it took you 1 hour to read every book and you did that 8 hours a day, it would take you 1 year, 1 week, and 3 days. All right.
It was a lot of.
And he told you he went to school. He got accepted to college at 7 years old, right? That would make him the second youngest person ever, right? All right. So Katt has now given you the baseline of how he's going to tell stories for the
how this comedy special is going to go.
Yeah. So he's giving you the baseline. So when people were getting upset and was just like, why would he say these things, or I shouldn't believe him? Like, Katt is letting you know that I'm going to provide color.
Facts.
Now, what I love, Katt didn't say the potato head motherfucker that hosts the game show. He ain't say, that the little Daryl motherfucker that be wearing dresses that can't act. He didn't say, fat motherfucker that not funny. Right, so you had to guess who he was talking about.
He came in with names.
He came in and said, "This is who it is.
This is what they did.
This is what they did, and this is how I feel."
Y'all are surprised that Steve Harvey can talk.
On that, I look. If you're gonna pick a fight, call it out right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Facts.
don't. Even though a couple, even though the men wives caught strays, I didn't like that.
Oh, we gonna get to that part.
I didn't like that. Like,
we get to what we didn't like. Highlights for me. I told y'all I was live texting.
Yeah.
The truth does not need motivation. I thought that was beautiful.
He had some one line like Katt.
That's a bar.
He about to be memed out.
That is a bar. Your allegiance to losers is so unlike. Boy.
Yeah.
I about fell on the floor when he said that. I told my wife, I said, this nigga rapping.
Yeah.
This was a rap battle.
Yeah.
And he fought everybody. A couple of things that stood out to me, or I was not surprised. A couple of things I wasn't surprised at. Mark Curry has came out and said that Steve Harvey has stole from him before. Steve Harvey has addressed it and addressed those claims. And Steve Harvey let me know on the radio when he addressed it that he stole them.
And so this leads to a bigger question. I don't know if we have this in it.
What's that?
In here anyway today. Like, when you are the inspiration for like someone, right?
Okay.
Like, what do you owe that person if you're the inspirer or the person who is inspired and takes off, right? Because I mean, we see that happen all the time, right? Like, there's no Jay-Z without Dame Dash, right?
Facts.
But Jay-Z was able to make himself more attractive to their client at the time, which was Interscope. I think it was Interscope, or was that
Universal?
Universal.
Yeah.
So and Lenore Cohen and Geffen and all them dudes was like, yo, I see something in Jay-Z.
We'd pick him over you.
Right? And that paid dividends for Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You know, so it's the same thing when you look at Mark Curry and, you know, Steve Harvey, like, yo, everything is right. Like when they compared the two between Hank Mr. Cooper and
Bruh. That's something I never put those two together.
I never really put it together, and I'm like, yo, they're absolutely right. But what does Steve owe Mark, right? Like, but when you're behind the scenes, and I'm not a Steve Harvey fan, so I hate that it might seem like I'm defending what he did, right?
Okay.
But when you're behind the scenes and you are easier to get along with than most people, right? And someone that actually has the bag said, you know what? I couldn't work with them, but I can work with you.
You know, it is something to be said for people who do sell their soul and make it. Can you be mad at them?
I think that's a huge question. And what we do it?
Yeah, well, that is a conversation. And you know, people sell their souls for different numbers.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, growing up in the church, they teach you selling your soul as the devil comes to you at night and say, hey, I'll take you to higher heights. And you say, devil, here it is. And as you get older, you understand that analogy isn't as literal. Yeah. But what it is, hey, embarrassing myself for clicks and likes and a check that comes monthly from Meta, I'm willing to do. Or what that looks like is, hey, I'm willing to, if I'm Sexy Red, I'm willing to make a song that just degrades black women every check.
And myself, because I'm having to be in it,
absolutely.
And this is forever.
But the flip side of it is my mom no longer lives in the projects. You know, everybody sell their soul for a different number and different type of things. And, you know, whether you think Kevin Hart is a plan or not, Kevin Hart makes some people $1 billion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
and it's tough.
He's super rich now. Like, he's
super rich. You know, I think it is that conversation of, damn, that is tough. I looked at it, you know, some of the key things I looked at, you know, going back to that is one of the things that hurt is Steve Harvey being homeless is a big part of his story.
Yes. And
for Katt Williams to paint a story to show us how he was not homeless sounded super believable. And it was tough. But
he got in the bag now, so you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, at this point, it doesn't matter. Like, Steve Harvey is like super rich now. Like mega rich.
$100 million.
Yeah, hundreds, you know, of millions of dollars. And then when you look at, Kevin Hart, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
And, you know, that's a hard place for most comedians to get to.
Yeah.
So, and I think Katt now, I think the last probably 5 years, I don't think he's as broke as people think he is. I think he did make money. He did lose it all. But I think after he got with Suge and he toured, I think he was like that. I'm never gonna be broke again. Type thing. Like on this tour right here, like this dude's easily gonna make 8 figures.
Oh, bro, the Charlotte show.
Yeah, it got sold out.
Yeah, so they added another one.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. Couple of things that stood out to me. The conversation about, I think we talked about it off air. The conversation about him and his dad. Yeah. In that segment, to me it's interesting to hear other black men, and I think all of us do this.
Yeah.
When you have that I'm a man situation with your father, how we all protect or come. We leave a lot of details out.
Well, I think we leave a lot of details out because, I mean, I think it is respect for, you know, our parents, you know, for one. And for two, it's one of those things where I think once you become a man, right, and, you know, it's not trauma for you, I think you realize that at the end of the day, like, that's that man's house.
Facts.
I think that's the place where a lot of men get to, right? Like, if he came and did that in my house, right, that ain't going down, right?
Facts. But
when I'm in that man's house, like, I see where he's coming from. And I think if you don't grow up with the father, I think that's a lesson that you miss, right? You miss that, you know, at the end of the day, that kind of respect I want, I have to pay that homage to my father. Mm-hmm. And I think the second part is, we grew up in a generation. I don't even know if you caught this, but in my generation, probably to like 3rd grade, corporal punishment was something that happened in school.
Yeah, nah, they ain't never do that shit.
Yeah. So and you know, so from my generation back, right? So we talking about from the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Back to, you know, to whenever, you know, the teachers would have rulers, principals would have paddles. that was something that happened in school. So, Katt Williams is, 10 years or 8 years older than me, right? So, he's growing up in school in the 80s. So when he's saying like, well, I'm getting my ass beat, right? There's an alliteration, not even an alliteration, right? He said I get my ass beat. That's not an alliteration. But or is it? I don't know. But anyway, what he said is basically it's like, yo, there was an altercation, right? There's something that's occurring, in the home, and he's talking about corporal punishment. And I think it kind of stood out to me because I think Shannon missed that because Shannon grew up with his grandparent versus most of us that grew up in the 70s and 80s as children with two parents in the home or even one parent in the home. We was getting butt cuttings.
Yeah. Shannon was getting his ass whooped. And the only reason why I say that, Shannon got, never mind. I shouldn't say that. I would say this, Shannon grew up very poor.
Yeah.
And he always talks about how his grandparents was like one step away from sharecroppers. And I think South Carolina and Georgia, in some parts of Florida, especially South Carolina and Georgia, we got to remember Georgia ain't Atlanta.
No, Georgia is not Atlanta. And Florida's more the panhandle than Miami.
Absolutely. And a lot of those places, especially we talking about deep rooted in racism, slavery, things of that nature. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting. What issues did you have with the interview?
I didn't like the strays to the wives.
Me either.
And I know y'all probably be like, yo, you misogynist. We really not. We really love y'all to death. But I didn't like that. I thought that he could have left their wives out. But I mean, it's Katt Williams, right? Katt went down there and lit Wanda ass up on the radio station so much so that her husband came up there with a pistol. So Katt is equal opportunity.
He is,
but he should have left the wives out of it. I think the Luda's kind of felt like a stray.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Saying the call out Luda, I'm like
to say that you and Luda was in front of the Illuminati and they promised y'all $200 million split over 10 movies, but you had to cut your hair and keep your sideburns.
Yeah.
Now Luda, I'm gonna say this, and Mike said that he thought this was cool. I think it's corny. Let me tell you, anybody that's out here, where my camera at? You talk about my wife, I am not dropping a freestyle the next day. I'm saying I'm just leave it at that. Bro, but I thought the wives was I thought it was disgusting. And the only reason why, my dad taught me something, and this is the problem I have with some of y'all. This is the problem I have with encountering some of y'all sons, and you not in their life, because this is what men teach you as you grow up. If you're gonna fight a man, you got to be willing to know that he's willing to take it a step further than you. My dad taught me that as a kid.
Yeah.
So with that, my dad also taught me you got to be understanding that some things men are willing to die for that you are just talking trash about.
Yeah.
I know that's about people's wives. So when you talk junk about people's wives, how they look, how they high yellow, how they face look, what they nose look like.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to understand that some men are willing to catch a body for that.
Yeah. I mean, and
it's tough.
Yeah, and you're gonna run across these, folks, possibly at one point in time. And again, I think part of it is Katt Williams is moving into real money, and I think this show is making him more of himself. Like I do think. I think the last few years he's been rich, but I think with this current tour and future tours, he you know what I'm saying, he's about to move into that next level. And so I did have an issue with him taking strays at people that I don't think really deserved it. I did not have a problem with Shannon Sharpe letting them talk. I know a lot of people. Steven Jackson said, man, we would never let them say, go on about our friend. Yeah,
you would. And y'all got to stop telling us that y'all friends, because we don't believe it. Well, just like when the girls tell us that, we've been divorced for, we've been split up for a long time, and then they get mad when they hang out, with some new chick online, Cardi. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't believe y'all.
Well, so it's one of those things like, okay, if somebody was talking trash about, one of us in our group chat, right?
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, all right, we're not going to play that on air. But like, if somebody was talking about someone that I just know, right, and they were sitting and we was interviewing them, they were just like, well, let me tell you about this person. I mean, I'm like, that's not my experience with them, but if you saying this is your experience and we're interviewing, that's your experience. Like, hey, why am I stopping to be like, like, okay, my brother, my pod mate, my best female and guy friend. Yeah, I might be like, all right, I'm not airing that, right? Yeah. Even if it's true, right? And I tell y'all when I'm biased. But if it's somebody that I just know of,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like let him get it off. I think Shannon was perfectly okay by letting him talk. If Shannon's not a trained journalist. He could not have asked better questions than just letting Katt Williams roll.
Oh, facts. And you get the numbers that you got.
Yeah, exactly.
And we got to live with that.
Is crazy.
Tiffany Haddish, you're not funny.
She is not funny.
Your follow-up jokes were not funny.
I almost think that like Tiffany Haddish makes me think that her and Kevin Hart might be plants for real.
Yeah, she does. Like, I don't believe Kevin Hart is a plant, even though Katt Williams made a great, and he's more educated in this field. He made a great story for us to follow.
Yeah.
But Tiffany Haddish makes me believe that Katt Williams is telling the truth on that. And also, I will say this. I think it's disgusting what Steve Harvey is doing, even though it's smart. When your co-host was pillow talking with her man on the jail phone, y'all did a whole press run the next day. She got on there almost in tears apologizing.
Damn.
And you gave a whole statement.
Ooh.
For Katt Williams to get up here and say, hey, you was wearing the man unit, which I already knew, but was funny. Hey, you stole from fellow comedians. Hey, you was never homeless, even though that's a crook of your story. He said that you told us your last wife was the one, left her and got with a woman who thinks like a man, and then she wrote a book for you and got out here. Bro, for you to sit up there on the radio, because I was tuned in. I am not a fan of Steve Harvey, but I listen to Steve Harvey because I think his show is good. And it's a whole different perspective on everything. And like Mike said last week, sometimes you got to listen to people that you don't necessarily agree with. But for you to be silent, and to you, Melissa Ford did this on Joe Budden's podcast, and Steve Harvey did it too. For y'all to be so disengaged the next day was funny. And then for you to sit up there and let your co-host just fake laugh at all these non-dry ass jokes was disgusting. But yeah, and I know you're going to address it when the time right, when nobody's thinking about it, and you know that it's just going to...
5 years from now when he's at the pond on his ranch,
absolutely,
he'll make something that, we
care about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Was DJ Academics right or wrong?
What did we call it earlier? We had a word for it.
What, dry snitching? No,
not dry snitching. When you hollering at somebody else's girl.
Dirty macking.
Dirty macking. Yes.
So the word is Danny Green slid into DJ Academics. And I stole that from Joe Budden, by the way. Apparently, Danny Green,
be a New York dude that would understand dirty macking.
Absolutely. And I thought it was just genius because I'm like, oh, this is so true. That is exactly what it is. It's player hating, what we call it down here.
Yeah, we call it player hating. But yeah, dirty macking is actually way better.
Absolutely. Danny Green slid into DJ Academics' girlfriend's DMs. And DJ Academics, who was so beside himself, decided to DM Danny Green's wife at the time and say, hey, your man is DMing my man. Get at me. And she said no. And he said, well, if you think I'm lying, go check his DMs because I have it on my end.
And he sent screenshots. Absolutely. He sent her like, I'm showing you these screenshots.
Absolutely. But was he right or wrong?
He should have talked to his woman and Danny Green. Like, leave that woman alone, man.
You can't holler at my girl and think I'm going to let that shit fly.
You going to go holler at his girl? Like, because here's the thing. When you holler at his girl and you can't get his girl and he actually can get your girl, where does that leave you?
Over here with my dick in my hand.
Exactly. It's like it was a waste. Like, yo, he should have like hit his girl up, be like, yo, what the fuck? And then reach out to Danny Green and be like, yo, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, but you know what's so sad? You know what's nasty about all this? Not only was you dirty macking back then, you still dirty macking. Why are you bringing this up?
Yeah,
you telling us something we don't know.
Man, didn't he just get demonetized on Spotify?
I don't know. Did he?
I don't know. I think Spotify was kicking him off. Like he needs to calm down, man. And here's the thing: he's too rich.
He sold his soul, bro.
He's too rich to be acting the way he's acting. But you know what they always say about money? Money makes you more of yourself.
Who you are.
So can't wait to see who I am next year.
Absolutely, because I can tell y'all already who I will be. I'm going to have a Katt Williams moment. Oh, I didn't even get to bring up. Don't mean to go back to Katt, but I think it is this conversation of gatekeeping. I've said it on air, at least in my universe, in my world, photography in this creative space, gatekeeping is interesting. I did think it was interesting. He said that Kevin Hart and Tyler Perry were gatekeepers. And you know what? I do believe that people should go Google and look up the definition of gatekeeping because I think it'll make y'all realize that gatekeeping is a real thing. And I say it like this. in my world, let's talk about photography right quick, and it'll be quick. There's a certain amount of doors that black people have access to.
Yeah.
Those black people let the black people who come and kiss their ass and who pay them go through that door. And, you know, it was interesting. I think nobody would look at Kevin Hart or Tyler Perry and say, hey, they don't put black people on. But as we see,
if they don't like you,
you never walk through them same doors.
They're not going to walk you through those doors. And I get what you're saying about gatekeeping. I guess that my whole thing is like, as African Americans, most of the time we're going through the door of that African American is open for us.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is like, once we're good enough, it's always somebody richer than the African American that's gatekeeping.
Oh yeah.
And I wish we would learn that. So when I'm like, you ain't got to worry about that. Like, okay, Tyler Perry is powerful, but if you're good enough to be on Tyler Perry and he's blocking you, bro, all you got to do is just go behind him. There's I think we get away from, the 48 laws of power, right? And the art of war, right? Like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Tyler Perry don't like me. Who hates Tyler Perry?
Yeah.
Let me go over here and talk to that person. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, our thinking has become so binary that it's like either stop or go. No or yes, right? And that's not how we work as humans. Humans are all in the middle, right? Our no's are never really no's. Our yeses are never really yeses. We operate for the most part within the middle, right? Yeah. Like, we'll say, are you gonna come out? Yeah, I want to come out, right? And then sometimes we don't, right?
Yeah.
And we have every intention to come out sometimes. And sometimes we say, we have no intentions to. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this idea that as humans, we got to have this binary thinking, right? We don't have to. Like, we can actually look at a situation and say, well, shit, I'll try it 60% in this direction. If it don't work, then I'm gonna go back 70% in another direction and keep doing it until we shake it up. So I get the gatekeeping. I just hate that sometimes I think we empower people way too much, right? Like, Tyler Perry, great guy. Byron Allen, great guy. Robert Smith, great guy. They don't have that doesn't have to be it, right? Yeah, Gavin can be the next great guy. But who Gavin has to meet, right? Like, that's the question we got to ask.
And at least in our world, sometimes those folks who are in charge, sometimes they'll go to those powerful black people and say, hey, what do you think about them?
Yeah.
And then sometimes your name, you got to hope they give you a good name. I look at it in Charlotte right now, as far as like, if I want to get a gallery in Charlotte, it's not as easy as me going to the Mint Museum. It's not as easy as me going to Bachelor or whoever and say, the nice theater and say, hey, can you put my artwork up? Sometimes they're going to go speak to the only black people who they trust and be like, hey, what you think? And I'm here to tell you, sometimes those black people will shit on your names. Nonetheless, I love this. Is one of my favorite segments of the pod. Hold on. We got to do it.